Okay, I think we're ready. Move that over a little bit. Okay. Hi guys, and welcome to another video on the StrengthCoachRhett YouTube channel. Bringing to you today something a little bit, you could say off topic, but it's very relative to training and getting stronger and whatnot, and it's all about sleep. And I just wanted to share with you my experience over the last couple of years. This has been building up now, and I can't say for sure, but there seems to be a correlation between me getting heavier in general as an individual and my bench press increasing, which has led to what I believe to be sleep apnea symptoms. Quite bad, so bad in fact that on a few occasions I brought up a little bit of blood in the morning. I don't believe it was the sleep apnea itself that caused that. That came after having a nasty cough last winter, and after speaking to the doctors and getting an x-ray and some scans and stuff, all confirmed there was nothing sinister going on. But it was terrifying because obviously your mind goes to the worst, especially for me. But I basically, from the excessive coughing, apparently it's quite common to have like a little tear or in your windpipe or in your airways, and that wasn't enough to bring up blood in the day. But and this was the interesting, most important point. I was only bringing it up in the morning after a night's sleep, especially if I'd been sleeping in an awkward position. So obviously with sleep apnea, for anyone that's interested or watching this video, you will know that it's often an obstruction of the tongue blocking the airways. And I do have a big tongue, which is really annoying. And I kind of knew that could be a problem, but I didn't really think about solving that problem initially. So let's talk about my symptoms. So first of all, the symptoms started way before I even realised what was going on, and I was just exhausted. Really excessively tired all the time. And it got to the point where I just could not stay awake beyond 9 p.m. And this is really out of character for me because I'm more typically a night owl, and my preferred hours of being awake are from 7 to 8 a.m. to midnight to 1 a.m. Even later in some cases. And yeah, that changed, and I was just like, right, okay. And you know, I've had a couple of kids, I'm getting a bit older, I'm past my 30s now, I'm in my 33, so we can expect these sorts of tiredness issues to come up, but I am super fit. And also I train a lot, so you could also expect that maybe, you know, I'm getting stronger and fitter all the time, maybe the training stress is just requiring that I need more sleep. Perfectly logical. But when I was allowing myself, and after reading Matthew Walker's book on sleep, I started giving myself more sleep opportunity and giving myself more sleep in general, and it still wasn't working. I wasn't waking up feeling refreshed. So about a year later, after trying to just improve my sleeping habits, I started to notice that I was waking up gasping for air at times, and it wasn't all night, it was just once or twice in the night, and yeah, enough to wake you up. And this is really bad, guys. This is a really bad sign. Basically your oxygen saturation levels will drop significantly enough to raise the alarm bells internally inside your body for your body to wake you up and to get some air so you can breathe. It's not good, so it doesn't make for a really restful night's sleep. So I thought, and my nasal cavity was like quite blocked. So I was like, oh, okay, well maybe what can I do to unblock that? So I tried the nasal clips. I tried using those, and they didn't stay in. They helped. I tried the nasal strips on the top, helped, didn't stay on. I tried the nasal plugs, went in, didn't stay in, regardless of the size. Brought a couple of different brands of those, and I was like, okay, now. And at this point, I was convinced it was like breathing through the nasal cavity, and so I then tried this Sudafed. Now it does say on the box and in the information pamphlet, and it's also you're only supposed to use it for 7 days in a row, and if your symptoms persist of having a blocked nose in the day, which I didn't have a blocked nose in the day, I was just trying to improve my breathing at night, this is the important part, then you need to go and seek further medical attention and stuff like that. But I didn't have a problem breathing in the day at all, and this was really good. I used this and I woke up feeling so refreshed the next day, because even if my tongue fell to the back of my throat, I could still breathe through my nose. So that helped. So I was using this quite consistently for months on end, and I didn't use it throughout the day. So the recommendations are up to 3 times daily, 1 spray per nostril. I was only using it once, so I wasn't overusing it. I didn't get addicted to it. I did experience some nasal kind of like a function dysregulation around mid-afternoon in the day, but then by the time I got to midnight again, my breathing in my nasal cavity was back to normal. So despite recommendation, I went against the grain and used this continuously for some months, and it was, yeah, I mean, it's really effective, but I was still snoring a lot, to the point that my wife was recording me and also like getting evidence that I was not breathing. She was getting really concerned, and by this point my bench press performance was coming up, and my neck muscles are getting thicker, and I think, yes, you can get sleep apnea that's worsening from just being overweight, but then there's also like just thickening of the neck in general. It's quite common in lifters, and I don't know how well this is spoken about in the medical fields or whatnot. This is just my experience, but there seemed to be a pretty close correlation. Even though I've dropped about 10 kilos in the last year, my bench press performance has still been going up, which is great. And I'm natural as well, so like it was just my pressing. I got a new coach. He showed me a different way of training, and it was great. Anyway, pushing closer and closer and closer to the barrier of hitting my first 200 kilo bench press. Training's going fantastic, but obviously, like, to hold the bench press position, your neck muscles are here are working because they contribute to the rib cage rise. So they're obviously hypertrophying and getting thicker and tighter and stronger, and yeah, I do routinely stretch my neck muscles and whatnot, especially after my bench training sessions, but it got to a point where this is not being effective. And even this, despite helping with the breathing, was not helping enough, as my neck's getting thicker and I'm getting stronger. And and like, as I speak to more and more lifters, this is like a really common thing amongst lifters. Not everybody has it, but it seems to be quite common, especially when you go to like big competitions and you start seeing like other lifters that are like really high level, like way beyond what I'm capable of, and so yeah, there seems to be a common thing here. I don't think it's very well investigated, but there definitely seems to be an observational trend that I've noticed. So in hearing the video that my wife took of me trying to breathe, I was like, right, that is it. Immediately I jumped up out of bed and I brought one of these in the time that I decided to start using this. But I used this because this fixed the problem. I didn't use this. And this is the company's Diffney. I'm not a affiliated with anyone. I've got another item to show you as well, but this is a mandibular advancement device, and like you can move this. Essentially, this is a mouth guard, and you can wear it, and you can move this like back and forward. You just got to squeeze these parts, and then you can see that slide forward, and then you can slide it back. And this goes in the top, and this goes in the bottom, and essentially you can. It's a little bit tricky, clearly. So you've got like a little measurement device there. So this would be a top layer of teeth. It would be a bottom layer of teeth, and so this is bottom layer, this is top layer, and it basically pulls your jaw forward, and it's got like airways in the front there. So it's really easy to breathe through. You stick it in hot water and you mould it like a normal mouth guard to your teeth, and it fits quite well. Does get a little bit gunky, so you have to clean it like regularly, like every day. But that seemed to work unless it fell out. So yeah, like the nasal strip and the nasal inserts, like that I'd find that either out of place, like one layer of my teeth was off it, and it just wasn't consistent. So it was like an undefined amount of time that might have been helping me get a good night's sleep. Somewhat beneficial, helped for a few nights, but then like, yeah, the inconsistency of it was really, really irritating. So that led me on to this mouthpiece, which was like, it's like a tongue suction device. This is a little bit like weird. It's like a little dummy. Basically, you just squeeze the end of it. You got to warm it up, squeeze the end of it, or put your tongue in, squeeze the end of it to get all the air out, and then when you let go, that provides an inward traction on your tongue and helps keep the tongue forward. Again, this was closer. This was much better. This, I would say, personally for me, it kept the tongue out of the airways and the obstruction. The scary part with this is it stays in your tongue better if you're a back sleep, if you sleep on your back. But obviously, like if the tongue is the obstruction in this situation, you don't want to be sleeping on your back, like just as a habit. So yeah, I would always tend to sleep on my side anyway. So this was no good because it would tend to, again, same as this product. About I'd wake up halfway through the night and it's just in my mouth, not doing anything. So it can potentially be a choking hazard. So I was like, right, what the bloody hell am I going to do? Which led me on to my biggest discovery and the fix that made it all better, which was my pillow. I don't know if you'll be able to see this clearly, but there's a bit of an odd shape to it because inside I have a cushion. And that essentially creates, I place my head here, and I have my head pointing downwards toward the bed at about, I don't know, roughly a 45-degree angle. And because of the angle, it pulls the tongue forward. And because I'm a side sleeper, I will sleep close to the edge of the bed. So if I roll on my back, I'll just fall out of the bed, but I don't. And if I need to swap sides, I just turn the pillow around, and then I just face the other way, and that's fine. And then, so if I wake up in the middle of the night and I want to switch sides because one side of my leg or shoulder's getting a bit achy, then I just swap it around. And this has been the most consistent, best thing ever, and it didn't cost me a penny. And yeah, it's fixed my sleep apnea, it's fixed my snoring, I get a great night's sleep, and honestly, like my energy levels have been through the roof, and I didn't realise how bad my sleep was until all I did was put this cushion inside my pillow to provide like an angled effect so my head can tip downwards. Now, I thought I was onto something amazing with this, but it turns out you can buy these like cushions on Amazon already. So no big sales pitch there, but it works. and you should give it a try. It's wonderful. So if you're pretty sure that with your breathing at night being affected, if it's the tongue that's obstructing the airway, which I would say from my research is probably most likely the case, then yeah, give it a try. The worst thing about this is that you might dribble a little bit, because obviously your mouth jaw is going to open during sleep, and then obviously everything's aimed downwards toward the bed, so you might dribble a little bit. I don't tend to notice that I dribble that much, but I have done. But for the sake of a good night's sleep and no snoring, and having a partner that can get a good night's sleep, and the kids, if they jump in the bed as well, then everyone's going to have a better day. Yeah, it goes without saying that a bad night's sleep is going to affect your mood, and you know, all the other things that are in daily life that can affect that. It's a no-brainer. So you've literally, with this, you've got nothing to lose apart from the effort of putting a cushion inside your pillow to one end, and then placing your head in the center so that it tilts downwards. So that's all I did. I guess I should probably show you what that looks like from a different angle. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay on the floor and see if I can demonstrate that. I don't know if it's going to. It should work out quite well. So this is just me stuffing the cushion inside, right to the end, so it bulges up like that. And I tend not to have it this side because it's a bit rough, but turn it around that way, and like you get a nicer taper to the pillow. So let's try and show you how that works. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this camera down on the floor and aim you down a little bit. So hopefully you can see what's going on here. So obviously you can see the cushions on this side of the pillow, and I'd be sleeping on my right side if it was this way. So I'll just demonstrate that now. So I always sleep on my side. I always have another thin cushion underneath my rib, because otherwise my shoulder gets too much pressure on the floor. But essentially, you've got to remember the angle. You can see it more clearly now if I turn the pillow around. Is right there. So that's the point at which you want to create the angular effect of having your head tilted down. And a good way to test this is to consciously let your jaw and head, or everything around your mouth, completely relax. If you do that laying on your back, you'll quickly find yourself choking on your tongue if you just let everything relax. So that's a nice way to test it for yourself. So yeah, another thing I always like to do, I always place my hand in here because it stops my arm doing this. So essentially, that is the little nestled position I find myself into. And what I tend to do, so if I would have it this way round, so notice you can see like a nice, a smoother taper. So what I tend to do as well is that, like, because it rotates your head down into the pillow, so you can feel like you get like a face full of cotton. So what I tend to do is I'll rotate the pillow slightly round, so I've still got the angled effect, but so that my mouth is just this side of the pillow, so that like I've got a bit of air between my mouth and any fabric essentially. So that's how that works, and it's so simple but so effective. It's completely changed my life. To say I've got more energy is an understatement, and I feel like I've got like an answer as to like why some days I would have almost like no energy, and yeah, I think that's it really. So for anyone out there that's got sleep apnea or is suffering from symptoms like extreme tiredness, you're falling asleep in the car on the way home, you're struggling to focus and concentrate, like these can all be symptoms of lots of other things. Like you might have other issues going on, but if you are aware that your partner's made you aware that you're not sleeping very well, or like you got heavy snoring, you got to pay attention to that, because if you're snoring, that's like the inside of your nasal cavity and like your tongue and your epiglottis like vibrating against each other. Like that's obstruction. You really want to be quiet when you're sleeping, to be honest with you. So pay attention, and if this is not something that you have been aware of and you're suddenly being made aware of it now, this could literally change your life. And in some cases, like, you know, it could, I'll go far as to say is like it could save your life, because like sleep apnea is such a serious deal that like it was enough to make me bring up a little bit of blood in the morning, which terrified me, because of the negative vacuum of trying to breathe so hard against probably what's most likely a little tear from coughing, but still enough to scare the hell out of me, and enough to raise the alarm bells and go, okay, something's really not right now. So it might not get that bad for you. I think I was just unlucky in that instance. And what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, what was it? Apparently I need to go to sleep. Where was I? Yeah, so I think that's it, guys, to be honest with you. So give it a try. I hope this helps, because it's changed, to say the least, it's changed my life. I'm not even exaggerating. I feel fantastic every day that I wake up now, unless you know I've got kids, or like I'm an idiot and fall asleep on the sofa and don't get my head in the right angle like that. I literally fell into that trap the other night, and because just get home, you're tired, you're like, oh, just lay down for a second. It's, you know what it's like. So yeah, I spent half a night not sleeping very well, and the other half a night sleeping okay. So it would have been a lot worse in the past, but you know, not too bad. I still got half a night good sleep. So give this a try. Let me know how it goes for you. It's a simple fix. It's zero cost. Take it from my experience. I've tried loads of different things to try and improve my sleep, and I was at the that's what I wanted to talk about. I was at the last step before I was then starting to read into having surgery where you can remove your tonsils to help improve the airway space, which is an option, and also sleep apnea, and I didn't want either of those things. So the fact that this simple trick has been enough for me to fix my sleep apnea and my breathing issues at night is just, I mean, it's wonderful. So if this helps you, then at least that's a little something that I was able to share with everybody that might make a difference. Thank you very much. If you've got any comments, feel free to like hit me up in the comment section, or get in contact if you're experiencing other issues. I'd like to take this point to just emphasise that I am not a doctor. I'm not saying go and excessively use a Sudafed, but it was just one compound that seemed to make some small difference for me. I did get advice not to use it excessively. I did go against that grain. So this is that disclaimer to say that don't do what I did. It was just something that was temporary relief until I figured something else better that worked. And I had very minor side effects with its long-term use, because I wasn't abusing it throughout the day, and I was only like, you could almost, compared to the recommendation, you could say microdosing it. Sometimes I wouldn't even have like a full spray, I'd just do a half spray. But it's still effective to a point. But I because of the pillow, I don't use that at all anymore. And there's been no noticeable long-term side effects from it, because it wasn't abused. So yeah, there you have it, guys. This is my sleep apnea story, and this is my experience. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this helps. Have a good day.